Hey, friends in beauty. If you're a professional makeup artist or beauty pro who is tired of juggling multiple tools to run your business, I got great news for you. Beauty Pro Funnels is here to simplify your life and take your business to the next level. Unlike other platforms like Wix, Squarespace, or Acuity, Beauty Pro Funnels was created by a makeup artist for makeup artists. This is the world's first all-in-one software that helps you book clients, sell your products, and even launch courses all in one place. No need for separate subscriptions that drain your wallet or tools that don't speak your language as a beauty pro. With Beauty Pro Funnels, you're not just getting another booking tool. You're unlocking the ability to create multiple revenue streams, so whether you're behind the chair or not, you're making money. Imagine accepting bookings, selling your beauty products, and offering courses all without the stress of managing separate systems. That could be a big headache. Let me break it down to you one more time. Your website, build it on Beauty Pro Funnels. Your portfolio, build it on Beauty Pro Funnels. Your booking site, build it on Beauty Pro Funnels. And your e-commerce site, host it in Beauty Pro Funnels. Want to offer beauty courses or digital products? You can sell them inside of Beauty Pro Funnels, and you'll be able to send invoices, digital contracts, newsletters, and do all of your marketing directly from your Beauty Pro Funnels account. It's mind-blowing. Listen, you're going to save hundreds of dollars every single month by replacing over 10 platforms when you make the switch to Beauty Pro Funnels like Wix, Squarespace, Acuity, WordPress, Vagaro, Honeybooks, 17 Hats, Dubsado, MailChimp, Klaviyo, Kajabi, DocuSign, even Shopify. It's crazy. I know you got at least one of those. And here's the best part. Tayana and her team spent over a year building plug-and-play templates into your account for pretty much everything, so you never have to start from scratch at all. So all of your appointment confirmations, reminders, and payment reminders and stuff like that for your clients, they have already been written out for you. You can even gather reviews and referrals all on autopilot. You'll free up so many hours of time each week so you can focus on what you love, your artistry. Plus, with their mobile app, you can manage your entire business from the palm of your hand. Send invoices, schedule appointments, and even take payments on the go. I believe in Beauty Pro Funnels so much that I recently moved the Friends of Beauty site to Beauty Pro Funnels, and I am loving it. It's a game changer because it's not just a platform. I swear it is like having your personal business assistant designed specifically for makeup artists and beauty pros like you. So here's the deal. If you want to see what all the hype is about, visit getbeautyprofunnels.com/friends to get a personalized tour and see how Beauty Pro Funnels can transform your business today. That's getbeautyprofunnels.com/friends because you deserve the best tool for your beauty business.
Have you ever felt so overwhelmed and burnt out that you just wanted to pause everything? You've been in grind mode for so long building your business. When is the last time that you took a break? That's exactly why I created the Water Break Retreat, happening in the breathtaking paradise of Bali on July 6th through 12th, 2025. The name Water Break comes from a moment I had on the verge of burnout, feeling unmotivated, uninspired, and completely drained. You know that feeling when you know you need to slow down, but you just can't justify it because everything feels like it will fall apart without you? That's where I was, and I knew I wasn't the only one. But here's the thing. If you don't take a break voluntarily, your body will force you to take one, and we don't want that, do we? That's why this retreat is all about intentionally pausing, just like a water break in a game, to recharge, refresh, and come back stronger than ever. Imagine waking up to stunning tropical views in a luxurious accommodation, relaxing, unwinding, and connecting with like minded beauty pros, and having memorable experiences that will leave you refreshed and re inspired to run your business and not have your business running you. A private chef welcome dinner, epic pool party with floating breakfast, Balinese spa package with an Instagrammable relaxing flower bath, and visiting the Bali swings is just a portion of what we have planned for you. Flexible payment plans with our dedicated travel expert make it super easy to say yes to the rest that you deserve. This is your chance to prioritize you. Spots are super limited and they're filling up pretty fast, so don't wait. Head over to friendsinbeauty.com/waterbreakretreat to grab your spot for this intimate getaway. If you're ready to hit pause on the hustle and escape to paradise to recharge together, head to friendsandbeauty.com/waterbreakretreat. Check out our full itinerary and save your spot as soon as possible. Share with another friend in beauty and get your passports ready. It's time for a water break.
So 10 years ago, myself and my business partner, Erica Douglas, we quit our corporate America jobs and decided to go into full-time entrepreneurship to support underserved, underrepresented entrepreneurs who had ideas but didn't have access to manufacturing in the beauty space. And so we both worked in the beauty space prior to this. And in starting the company, we knew that there was a huge potential, and people that looked like you and I, Black women, Black men, women of color in general, that were out here that were looking to go into market. And so we opened up MC Group with the goal of hyper serving that community. I've been super fortunate that across that 200, some of them have gone on to be like really, really big deals. Most folks know, if they followed me or followed our professional journey, that Mael Organics was one of our first clients back in 2015.
For people who think like that, what would you say to them if they think it's too late to start a beauty brand? Like, it's a new year. Is it too late?
Absolutely not. The beauty industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So that money's going to get spent whether you make a move or not.
Okay.
And there are the people like yourself who are tried and true product people, and we love that profile, because I know that if I convert you and sell you a product, your lifetime value on my brand is going to continue to build and build and build. But there's a bunch of other folks who are willing to try new things. Like
any Black brand that ends up selling their company, is almost, everybody's like, oh, they're selling out or they're doing this, but like, is that not the goal, to like get so big that you can sell it? Like, what do we need to know as Black people to ease our minds when we see our faves getting acquired?
So here's what we need to know. We need to know as a community, and I'm super passionate and sensitive to the topic. We need to know that when you're operating at scale at $100 million, $250 million, $500 million in scale, you are not doing that as a solo entrepreneur. Just not. Like, that doesn't exist even for other people in this country.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get authentic answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. Join me every week as me and my special guest reveal the keys to longevity and success in the beauty industry, from the ups and downs of their journey to the nitty-gritty of their struggles and triumphs. We're spilling the tea on it all, and most importantly, having fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty here, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. Now, on today's episode, we have the pleasure of having Anthony Standifer in the Friends in Beauty guest chair. So Anthony is the co-founder and chief marketing officer of MC Group, one of the largest Black and women-owned contract manufacturing companies in the United States. Over the past decade, MC Group has supported more than 200 underserved beauty entrepreneurs in launching and scaling their businesses, helping them navigate the complexities of the beauty industry. Anthony brings 25 years of beauty industry expertise, offering actionable insights for aspiring entrepreneurs and early stage founders. With a unique perspective shaped by managing multi-million-dollar brands in corporate America, Anthony provides a roadmap for launching and scaling successful beauty brands, no matter the budget, because that is always the thing I have in mind, is the budget. So let's get into it, y'all. Welcome to the Friends of Beauty podcast, Anthony.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this chat for a while now.
Oh my gosh, I have been looking forward to it too. And shout out to your assistant. I forget his name, but
Yay.
shout out to your assistant.
Van.
Yes, thank you, Van, for connecting us. I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much. Before we jump
Yay.
into the nitty-gritty, because I'm just like, I've been waiting for this time all day because I've been stalking your Instagram. I'm like, he's so amazing. I can't wait to talk to him. So we're gonna start off with some icebreakers so the Friends of Beauty audience can get to know you a little bit outside of what you do professionally. So
Cool.
first one, just give us 3 random facts about you.
Random facts. let's see how random we want to get. I love coffee. Like I'm an
Mm.
aspiring coffee snob. In the
Okay.
pandemic, one of the things I leaned into was like picking up coffee and different beans from different places and just
Okay.
exploring. And I like making coffee and drinking coffee. So that's
Okay.
random fact number one. Random fact number two, I'm an extrovert. And so by definition, I draw energy and connection with other people. And it's one of the reasons that I have to be a very good steward of who I surround myself with, because if the energy ain't right, then sometimes I ain't right. And so I'm
Okay.
choosing to be selective about where and the groups that I put myself in association with. Random fact number three. I'm a mama's boy. I just spent some time with my mom, who's getting up in age, but this lady is absolutely amazing. And I know I'm super fortunate at this time in life to still say that my mama is still here with me. So
Yes.
shout out to the mothers out there because your sons, we don't ever venture that far away in terms of our connection to you as mothers.
I love that. I'm an aspiring tea snob. I love tea probably the same way that you love coffee. I
Hey,
absolutely like love tea. So that's my jam. And I'm a mama's girl. Like I'm a
yay.
mama's girl. Like I used to
Come
hang out with
on.
my mom all the time until I got to maybe like my late 20s. But I used to go like everywhere with her, like her friends and activities and groups and like, yeah, always with my mother
I love it.
for sure. What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from what you do professionally?
Great question. I am a person I'd like to think, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen, at least from my perspective, sometime, and I'm really excited when it does. I'm a person that likes to see people. Like if I ask you, and it's not all the time, I get into the, hey, how you doing? And I'm really just moving 1,000 miles a minute. But when we are in connection with one another and I say, hey, how you doing? Or what's happening with you? I really want to know. And it's
Right.
important. And people have told me that they just really feel like they are seen with
Mm,
me when we
I
are in
like that.
connection with one another. And that is like super important to me because we are all navigating life and its complexities.
Hmm.
And I want to be one of those people that shows up for people and not in the, oh, you good? Great. I'm good. Let's keep going. And it really
Hmm.
ain't good.
Right. I love that. And that's such a great quality because sometimes we do ask, how you doing? But like, are we really prepared for the answer? If they really get
Yeah,
down to like tell
correct.
you how they
Correct.
really doing.
1,000%. And sometimes you ask the question with intention, and somebody then gives you the truth. And it's
Mm,
your obligation then to like pause and be with that person and acknowledge where they
yeah.
are. Not you can't fix it, but you can surely just say, like, wow, that is heavy or amazing or whatever that thing is. And it's
Absolutely.
amazing what happens when you say to someone, can you tell me how you're doing right now? And okay is not a good answer. The real
Hmm.
answer of how you're doing right now in this moment.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna try that one. A real answer. You
A
can't say
real
okay.
answer.
Okay. Look, okay.
Okay.
When's the last time that you did something for the first time? Have you had any new experiences lately?
New experiences. Life is moving fast. You know what? So last month I celebrated, and it was the first time I celebrated 3 years of therapy,
Ooh,
of being in therapy with the same therapist.
I think I've been with
Um,
mine for like 3 years too.
Come on, like yes, 2021. Yeah,
Yes.
2021 was the year
Uh-huh.
that things got really real for me, and I was like, I am not doing well by myself. I started therapy. I went in initially with like some issues that I wanted to address, but over time, I have found like in today's world, it's just a good place to just unpack and sort through things. And I actually
Mhm.
think about things differently now as a result of it because I go into therapy like having to think about me and give a good explanation as to what's going on. And so we had a little bit of a moment when I was like, it's been 3 years for us, brother. And
Yes.
my therapist is a Black man. And so we celebrated that. And I was like, this is really, really cool. And I can't imagine that this is the first time in my adult life that I've done therapy. And I was like, what the heck was I thinking about
Hmm.
waiting so long to start this journey? Because I'm the one that's benefited from it the most. So.
That is great. I'm sure the people around you have benefited in some kind of way too from you
Yeah,
going to therapy.
hopefully, when you got business partners and loved ones and everybody else and you snapping off and on the deep
Hmm.
edge or on the edge of sanity and insanity, it gets uncomfortable for everybody.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I commend you for seeking that out and sticking with it too. And actually sticking
yeah,
with it.
It's been great. It's been great. And I am now like a hardcore advocate for people just having an outlet for which they can just address the issues that they're having in life. And that is, for me, that is not my friend's job to do that. Like my friends are there to support me, they help me,
To
like
get help
we
out here.
throw up on each other every now and again, but my
Hmm.
friends are not licensed clinical therapists designed to help me sort through the challenges that I'm dealing with at any given moment, nor am I that for them. So I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, friend, this is above my pay grade. I'm
I be telling people all the I have a brother. I be like, you need to go to therapy. He be like, you my therapist. I'm like, no, I am not. Okay. He's like, what you gonna
Mm-mm.
do is you gonna tell your therapist what I said, and you gonna come back and tell me what she said. I'm like,
There
no,
you
you need
go.
your own.
You
Okay.
need
You
your
can't have
own.
mine.
You need your own. You need your own. Go ahead and
Yes.
encourage that brother to go ahead and get into a place where he feels comfortable just unraveling his own stuff.
Period. With a
Yeah.
T. Okay. Do you have a current mini win or a highlight that has been leading up to a bigger goal of yours that you've accomplished?
Mini win. Like this is almost the end. Of a year for me. And so I am celebrating that this has been the busiest I have been in my adult life. I took on 2023 was my year of saying yes to all things. Like if I
Wow.
had an interest in it, I was like, I'm just going to say yes. I'm just going to say yes. And so I overcommitted myself to a lot of things. And I knew that I was going to get into a space where I'd be kind of overwhelmed and really stretched. And so my desire was to stretch myself to see how much I could really do. And this year, I have gotten more stuff done than any other year, I think, in life. And it's
Wow.
not by accident because I overcommitted myself, which I don't necessarily recommend to everyone. But for me, it was the great hack that made me have to think about things like a lot smarter. And how do I work smarter? Because I wasn't getting any extra hours in the day.
Yes.
But I was super thinking to myself, like, I want all of these extra things. And if I always just say, well, I just don't have time, I just don't have time, I just don't have time, that I would then be stuck under that ceiling. And I'm
Hmm.
literally a person that's trying to break through ceilings at this point in life, both business and professionally. And so the way that I tried to do that was through a bunch of yeses last year that then bled into this year. And so I'm living in the middle of that, but it has been awesome to see and challenging at the same time, but really awesome to see. So every day that I get a little bit of a win, the assistant that you mentioned at the beginning, like I, for the first time, hired a full-time executive assistant, not for me in work, but for my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I compartmentalize it, then you're just working on one thing, and I got a bunch of other parts of life that are out there. And so I was like, I'm not going to be able to do all of this. I need to go find some help. And bringing on a virtual executive assistant has been game changing for me, in addition to the other people who help to support, the things that I'm doing in life.
This is so inspiring. I'm like, maybe I need a virtual like
Come on.
executive assistant. Hmm.
Level up. It's an amazing thing. If you're a doer, which I suspect you are, and listening to
Yes.
your background and some of the things that you're doing, like when you're an achiever and a worker bee, it can be tough to then say, like, let me bring on help.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reframing it. I need assistance in order to
Yes.
get things done. And no one, does $100 million, billion-dollar activities by themselves.
Mm.
So
Well,
bring
there's
on the
that.
help.
Bring on the help, bring on the assistance. Okay. Well, the last one for the icebreakers. If you weren't the co-founder and chief marketing officer of MC Group, is there anything else you could see yourself doing right now?
So my random goal, and it relates to one of my random facts about myself. At some point when I like have more money than I know what to do with, and I'm ready to like not retire because I'm always going to work, I was like, I want to open up a coffee shop
Mhm.
and just have like a little boutique coffee shop. And so I think I would be a really great barista that makes great coffee and like talks to and laughs with customers and clients as they come through to get coffee on a daily basis. Like that would just be like a dream
I love it.
situation for me.
I love that. A barista. I used to be really
Yeah.
good at making like cappuccinos and
Yeah.
Americanos. I used to work when I was like high school into early college at Whole Foods, and they had like their little coffee bar in there
Yeah.
and it's smoothies and stuff. So I used to work in that area and come home smelling like coffee every day.
I'm smelling like coffee. I love it and I love people. So yeah, that would be like a joy to do because I'd be doing something for a product that I love myself, but then sharing it with other people. And I think it would just be a kick to be a service provider. And I like the quirkiness and nuance of people. Like when the weirder people are sometimes, the more entertained I become.
Yeah. This is random. What's your sign?
I'm a Gemini,
You're a
June Gemini.
Gemini. Okay, I'm an Aquarius. Gemini and
Okay.
Aquarius, we get along.
Yay.
Yes. So you have helped, or your company has helped over 200 brands. Do you have NDAs? Like, can you share some of the brands that you don't
Yeah.
have like NDAs for?
Yeah, so like we're manufacturing product development and a manufacturing company. Most of the people that I do business with, we don't talk about because I am a behind the scenes service provider. But there are certain folks who have given us permission to use their brand stories. So 10 years ago, myself and my business partner Erica Douglas, we quit our corporate America jobs and decided to go into full-time entrepreneurship to support underserved, underrepresented entrepreneurs who had ideas but didn't have access to manufacturing in the
Mm-hmm.
beauty space. And so we both worked in the beauty space prior to this. And in starting the company, we knew that there was a huge potential and people that look like you and I, Black women, Black men, women of color in general, that were out here that were looking to go into market. And so we opened up MC Group with the goal of hyper serving that community.
Mm-hmm.
I've been super fortunate that across that 200, some of them have gone on to be like really, really big deals. Most folks know if they followed me or followed our professional journey that Mael Organics was one of our first clients back in
Nice.
2015. And so we
Mm-hmm.
met Monique and Melvin Rodriguez at a Bronner Brother hair show in Atlanta.
Nice.
We were in Atlanta meeting them, but they were literally in our back door here in the Chicagoland area where we are based, and they're just across the border in Indiana. And so we then became one of their first professional manufacturing facilities. They had already been in business and were doing, good business at that point, but we were the first professional contract manufacturer that would even deal with them. And it was
Yeah.
incredible that they fit the profile because Monique had specifically been calling manufacturers to support her in the early days of her vision, and people wouldn't even return a phone call. Like, no, thank you.
I wish they would have answered now.
Nah, come on, the gag's on you.
Okay.
And so they became one of our early clients, and we had tremendous success with them in cross product development, manufacturing, and then I managed their marketing department for a number of years as well. And then as they scaled, they grew so fast that they quite honestly outgrew my company,
Mm-hmm.
which was sad and great at the same time. But it
Yeah.
is absolutely proof of validation that our concept works is that if you give people access, then we will do the work. Like we just need
Mm-hmm.
a platform by which to move our visions forward, and then things will happen for us at that point.
Yeah.
So they've been like one of the mega stars of our professional journey. But outside of that, we've had a number of customers who have gone on and just done tremendous business where they're, maybe not selling and having their companies acquired by multinational companies, but they're doing six-figure businesses or seven-figure businesses. They're able to employ a small group of people, and so they've got a team of 5 or 6 people, and it's been amazing to see that happen over the course of our journey. She was La Belle Femme when we started, but then she became Maison 276. Her name is Angel Cornelius, and she's a
Okay.
woman right now who, at the start of our company, was selling these amazing body butters. But she is a woman of a certain age, and she has this brilliant, beautiful gray hair. She'd go to sell body butters at trade shows and conventions, and people would want to know what she's doing with her hair. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're like, let's develop a product for you then, if that's the experience that you're having. And so we've developed for her and in partnership with her a three-step hair care system that is designed to meet the needs of women who want to embrace their gray hair. There's been any number of other clients that have come through and have done just amazing things, many of whom are on our Instagram or in our TikTok feeds today, and then some of whom started their journeys and it ended because it was something that was there and it didn't thrive and succeed the way that they want to. But praise be that you had an opportunity to
Yeah.
get into the market and not let your dream sit inside of your head, but you had an opportunity to get on the field. And I believe that in doing so, even if your business isn't a $100 million success, you still have the learning that comes along with having a product-based business. And that is something that can transfer into every area of life,
For
regardless of what
sure.
happens with the brand itself.
For sure. That is such a huge flex to say that you were a part of the beginning stages of Mael
Yeah.
Organics, who has gone on to do amazing things.
Yeah.
Aside from like the access, aside from giving people the access, I know there's work that has to be done on their part in order to make their brand successful as well. So like what are some of the characteristics that you see in some of the founders that are pretty consistent with like the hustle, the grind that they have to like push their brand forward, aside from them, okay, they got the access, but now they gotta make some
Yeah.
things happen.
So here's the thing. Everyone has ideas. Like the ideas are not exclusive in
Yeah.
the universe. So
Hmm.
everybody has an idea and everyone comes into my sphere with an idea for a product or a consumer that they want to serve. And then I say, okay, great, let's translate your idea into a product or service. And then there's a whole process that we can use to help people, clarify and validate and do those things. But amongst the people that we've served, of these 200, the people that have been the most successful when I look at common character traits, the number one thing that each of those individuals has is a consistent execution work ethic. They deliver every single day. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter how they're feeling. It doesn't matter what life has thrown at them. They
Yeah.
continue to show up in their business and for their business to execute. There are also people that understand that they have to adapt and pivot when things don't work out the way that you want. Yeah, you spent a few $1,000s on some social media advertising and it didn't produce any dollars for you. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that your journey has to be over. It just means that you now have to be prepared to pivot and to look at it differently and maybe try taking a few $100s this time and
Right.
looking to see if you can make that and validate that those dollars will do the things that you need to do. And so people consistently are able to pivot when necessary. If you're not and you are like, it's got to be this way because this is what God told me, and I knew that it was
Yeah.
going to be exactly like this, and now it hasn't happened, and now I'm completely deflated and defeated. Then you've talked yourself out of a good time and out of an opportunity to learn and potentially break through and succeed.
You gotta surrender to the
Um,
process.
what's that?
So you gotta surrender to the
You
process.
have to. You have to. And the process don't care nothing about our feelings, don't care nothing about what we thought was going to be successful. The process is saying, are you going to show up? Because I'm here to mix things up
Yeah.
and take your great ideas and show you that that's not really what people are looking for. They wanted this instead of that.
Yeah.
And so our ability to pivot is key. Yeah, those are the two. I mean, I would say amongst that is that it's a consistent execution over an extended period of time and the ability to be flexible. Like those are the top two traits.
Yeah.
Again, products, we're a manufacturing company. People often think like, oh, are these formulas going to be the best? And, from our perspective as manufacturers and formulators, we're going to always develop and manufacture quality products. But
Yeah.
there's some people that have had amazing products and didn't know how to build a product-based business and how to structure and scale a beauty brand. And so they had amazing products that went out of business
Yeah.
for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a makeup artist, so I see my
Yeah.
share of products all the time. And honestly, like people are surprised that I'm not a product junkie. Like I find what I like and I stick to it. Like my makeup friends be so sick of me. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? I'm like, no, tell me about it. Cause I don't be trying a whole bunch of stuff. But I think from the outside looking in, people always think that it's just like so saturated. Like who needs another lipstick? Who needs another mascara? Like that type of vibe. Like for people who think like that, what would you say to them if they think it's too late to start a beauty brand? Like this is a new year. Is it too late?
Absolutely not. The
Okay.
beauty industry is a multi-billion dollar industry.
Hmm.
So that money is going to get spent whether you make a move or not.
Okay.
And there are the people like yourself who are tried and true product people. And we love that profile because I know that if I convert you and sell you a product, your lifetime
Keep
value
buying
on
it.
my brand is going to continue to build and build and build. But there's a bunch of other folks who are willing to try new things. Like if I ask any person, like, are you completely happy with your skincare? and your not your skincare, your skin at this moment? Like
Uh-huh.
the answer is 98% of people are going to say, no, I'm not
Right.
completely happy. There's something that I want to change, or something that I want to enhance, or something that I want to make an adjustment on. And if product then becomes the gateway to helping people do that, they are absolutely willing to spend. And so this is absolutely, despite all of the different entries that are in the marketplace, this is absolutely the best time, in my opinion, to launch a product-based business in the beauty and personal care space because
Yeah.
people have money, and they are looking for solutions. We, however, as brand owners, have to be smart about how we communicate and approach people. And if we
Mhm.
can get really smart and systematic about that, then the world literally opens up to us because that's then how you are able to take your idea and break through the clutter because you've then offered a potential solution to people. And there's, a tried and true process to doing that. Who are you talking to? What is the problem that you're going to solve? How are people going to feel after they've solved that problem? And then what is the product offering and how do I get access to your solution? Is really it. And it's, when you boil it down to the bare minimum, it's a
Yeah.
really, really simple formula that's not a secret, but it is something that has to be executed and executed well over time in order for you to see the kind of success that you potentially want to see inside of your business.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, I love how you just broke that down. They're gonna spend the money somewhere, and
They're
like
spending
people do,
billions.
and like the way that you even worded it, just saying like people, there are people who are willing to try new products. So if you are the new person on the block and your product is good, and then you get somebody like me who just wants
Yeah.
to keep buying it over and over again, you're good.
Yeah. And you likely, I mean, again, I don't want to dissect your situation, but as a makeup artist, you may have your fixed favorites, but your hair care, because your hair and your locks are beautiful. I don't know if you're locked into a specific regimen or you're a person that's like, well, let me try this hair care product. Or
I be doing
if you're
my
a
own
skincare
hair.
person, if you're a fragrance person that's like, oh, I like a little different scent every now and then. And so, this makes me feel good in this way, but I'm open. So there is usually amongst people a broad spectrum of places where they're willing to experiment and then
Yeah.
places where they're pretty fixed and tried and true on a locked in regimen. But
Right.
we're all out here because beauty for me is not about the products that we're selling. It really is just about how people are making themselves feel good and how
Hmm.
they want to show up in the world. And how we want to show up in the world is a reflection of how we've, presented ourselves in the world and the products and services that allow us to do that. And
Yeah.
so this is about self-identity, and everybody wants to feel good about themselves. So like
Everybody.
having products that help people to achieve that goal is amazing.
Yes, and you're helping them bring it to life. Oh, this is
Yeah.
so cool. Okay. So based on what you've seen, when people come to you, they have a product idea. What is the thing that keeps most people back from getting from idea to execution? Because like you said, we I know for sure I don't lack ideas.
Yeah.
I lack the execution behind like getting things done. I have tons of ideas for things I can do, but it's like, how am I gonna make it happen? Where am I gonna get this money? Like, what is the most overwhelming aspect for most people that they just don't get things to the finish line?
The single most trait is the confidence that what they're going to do can succeed.
Mm, wow.
It's that simple. And that you're the person that can drive the bus towards success.
Wow.
And so, when you're doing something new, it is scary. And it is like, wow, I've never launched a product before. I don't know this. I'm a teacher, I'm a social worker, I'm an engineer, I'm
Mhm.
something else, but I'm not this person who has been trained and studied product-based businesses or beauty products. And so I've got this idea, but I don't know that I'm the person that can make that idea come to life. And so
Wow.
once we get past that, sky is the limit. Like it literally is. And if we can give ourselves permission to try something and potentially have it not be a complete success, I think we just give ourselves then an opportunity to experience life in a really broad, beautiful way. And that just doesn't
Yeah.
account, that doesn't just apply to this. In so many areas, if we just gave ourselves permission to like do things without the fear that it's gonna fail and what's my husband gonna say, or what's my wife gonna
Hmm.
say, or what is my sister gonna say, or what are these other people gonna say? And just said, I'm just gonna do it because I want to do it and it's in my heart and my mind to do it.
Yeah.
Like that's a level of freedom that when you can master that, like you could do anything at that point.
Yeah, for sure. I had a old coach of mine. I live by this now. He used to say everything is a hypothesis. And it
Yeah.
took me back to like when I used to do science experiments and stuff like that in school, and you don't know what the
Yeah.
outcome is going to be, but you go through these steps and you test things out to see, if it's going to work. So I live life by that now. Everything is a hypothesis. So like you said, just seeing what happens, like
Just
without
see.
holding on so tight to, oh, it has to be like this. Like just see
Mhm.
what happens.
Yeah.
Take away that pressure.
And just like I'm just gonna do it because it sounds fun right now, or it sounds like it's a challenge, and I'm up for the challenge. And so, like, just do it, and that opens up just a crazy amount of space for a really, really amazing things to happen.
Yeah. So, like, say I have a beauty brand that
Mhm.
I'm working on. I don't, but just hypothetically, I have a brand and I want to go to the phase of getting out of my kitchen and working with a manufacturer. What are the type of questions that I need to be asking when I'm like shopping around for a manufacturer?
Yeah, great question. So part of what I do, because we again at 200 customers over a decade in business, but I've literally spoken to probably thousands of potential customers and people who had an interest. And so, in taking all the questions that people typically ask, as well as the questions that I need answered in order to adequately service you, I've boiled it down to like six different areas and six questions that people should have answered before they ever go talk to a manufacturer. And so the first thing is, who is your ideal customer type? Like, who are you hyper serving? I encourage people to be really, really specific about that answer, that it's not women between 18 and 59
Right.
because you're a
Oh
small
gosh.
business and you don't have money to service, 150 million people in the
Right.
country. And so be specific about like getting really, really niche specific. Like I want to talk to Black women that are in their mid 30s, that are mid professionals. They likely have one or two kids. They may or may not be partnered. They're people who will splurge in some areas, but have to be conservative in terms of what they spend in other areas. And they happen to be dealing with this specific set of problems or issues as it relates to beauty or personal care. Like if you can give that to a manufacturer, it opens up the world because I don't have to then from a formulation perspective, give you ingredients and formulations that are going to be more specific to maybe a 49-year-old woman or
Right.
someone from, a different age generation. And so I can bring to you things that are relevant to that age group or to that specific profile because I am doing enough formulation work for brands that I can then
Mhm.
segment like what's popping and what's not popping with certain groups of people.
Right.
And so that becomes question number one. Question number two is, what do you want to be unique or special about your brand? Like there has
Hmm.
to be something other than it's all natural that you want
Right.
to stand out amongst your brand. And you have to give me that information as your manufacturer. Oftentimes people will come and they're looking for me to provide the secret sauce and the secret formulation that's going to make their brand pop. And yes, I can collaborate with you on that, but you are always the driver of your brand bus and your business bus. So,
Yeah.
like, be the driver and come with a point of view that makes sense for you. The third thing is like, what do you want to sell this for? Like, what is your
Mhm.
suggested retail price?
Okay.
Because if you tell me what your retail price is going to be as a manufacturer, I can like back into what the cost looks like.
Oh, like reverse engineer it.
It's almost a reverse engineering. And so I will
Hmm.
work backwards. If you tell me you want to sell a body butter and you want to sell it for 15.99 as a retail price when you do get your product, then I'm not going to bring you the Lamborghini and Porsche formulation.
Right.
Because that formulation and producing that at a low quantity is going to cost you $25 a unit to do. So, like, let's take that off the table and build a product that is going to be accessible at the price point and allow you to make money as a brand owner. But that can only happen if you're super specific about like this is the price point that you want to sell your product at. And so there's other things that we go through in terms of like how to really get nailed into and get
Yeah.
specific. But like those are the top three that we start with among six questions that just says like, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is what puts you in a position as a brand owner to be prepared to talk to a manufacturer like me or any other manufacturer out on the market when you're looking for custom product development. Um,
Yeah.
the only other distinguishment I'll make is like if you go into a manufacturer, there's a lot of private label manufacturers, and by private label, it means that they have a stock formula, usually stock packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very common in color cosmetics that you'll go to some place or skincare that you can get a stock formula, and really all you're customizing is the bottle or the
Yeah,
jar.
the
So if you've
label.
got, something, the formula's already there, you're just putting your own unique label around that thing. And so that makes it easier for people. And it's usually a smaller price point, but you're literally getting a stock formula that's being used amongst any number of other customers. And
Yeah.
so if you're comfortable with that and it's a completely fine way to start your brand journey, then do that. But just don't let, to our earlier point today, like don't let the lack of money that you have be the obstacle that says you don't even start your journey. If it's
Right.
truly something that's burning inside of your head and your heart to go out there and do it, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Like, so
Yeah,
let's
for
get
sure.
into the business of skinning and finding different ways to make this
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
work.
just get your tools, the different skinning tools out
There you go.
and get to work. So when it comes to the private label, it just boils down to how you market it and who it's for.
Yeah, you just
Mm.
market it. And all of this is going to be essentially like your marketing and positioning is the foundation, whether it's a custom product or a private label option. And
Yeah.
so both options are available to you. If you're somebody that really, really wants a custom product, then you got to recognize that it's going to take more time and it's going to be more expensive than buying an off-the-shelf private label product.
Yeah.
And so if you're good with that and can wrap your, head and your finances around it, go down that path. But if you find out like, ooh, that's more expensive than I can do right now, start with the budget that you do have and go
Hmm.
from there. You mentioned earlier question was around if you're making products yourself, like if you can do it yourself, then do it because
Yeah.
that'll then allow you to control all of the cost. But just recognize that that's only going to be for a specific amount of time because you batching product in your kitchen at 12 o'clock or at midnight and 1 a.m. is not something that's going to be sustainable as your
Yeah.
business grows and scale. So you have to then be prepared that I'm doing this in the short term, but my long-term objective is that I'm going to transfer this process over to another manufacturing company and allow them to produce at scale, recognizing that this is, not the business that you need to be in the long
Hmm.
term, but everybody starts somewhere. And if you're
Yeah.
starting by batching and making product yourself, then absolutely take that route if that's something that you can take on.
Yeah, for sure. Is there I don't know, is there like a best type of product to launch as far as like the success of a product or like what does it boil down to? The story, the brand story, the no.
And again, the secret is what problem can you solve? If you can solve, if I said like, listen, I'm licking my lips right now because it's winter time, and so my lips are getting a little dry, and for whatever reason today they tend to be a little dry. But if you could say to me like, Anthony, I've got a one-step solution that'll allow you to deal with dry, cracking skin and lips, I'm game for it.
Yeah.
If you could tell me then, and that could just be one single product that I'm putting on to my lips as a means of moisturizing, hydrating, and keeping them less dry for an extended period of time.
Mhm.
Now, if you said to me, Anthony, with a three-step process, meaning that you're going to exfoliate, you're going to hydrate, and then you're going to moisturize, but you're going to experience, three times the level of moisturization that you're experiencing right now, then you could sell me
Yeah.
on three products. Because if
Uh-huh.
that really matters to me, then I'm like, okay, I'm willing to go on your three-step journey because you've given me enough information and there's got to be some validation out there in the social media sphere that says, yeah, I went through these three steps and I've been putting this scrub on my lips and I've been putting this little moisturizer situation and I've been putting the added final layer buffer on there. And
Right.
I do this once a day and it is done for the next 2 days. Like if you can
Mhm.
make that kind of promise, then I'm in. And I'll
Yeah.
go through your three-step solution, but it doesn't have to be three. It could just be one really good product that gives me some benefit above and beyond what I'm experiencing today. So don't make it that you've got to launch a five-step system or a three-step system. Like in many instances, it could be one product that offers some value and progress for the problem that I'm having right now or your intended customers having.
Mhm.
And if you can deliver that well, then that'll be the seed that you need in order to then come back later and launch products 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, for sure. What's the most amount of SKUs you've seen somebody try to launch with?
This year, I have a young lady. Fortunately, this is not her first time launching a brand. She launched 8 products at one time.
Really?
And so she launched an 8-step system into the marketplace. And God bless her. She's done
Yeah.
a great job, but this is not her first time launching products. And so it's a new brand for her, but it's not her first time doing it. And
Gotcha.
so, even as she was starting, I was like, "Are you sure you want
8
8 products?"
products.
She's like, "Absolutely, 8 products."
Oh,
And she's
wow.
got 3 more that she wanted to do. 3 more that she, is thinking about doing, but she was pretty clear that it needed to be at least these 8, as a
Okay,
starting point. And so it can
that's
happen. But more often than not, I get people who are saying, like, "I wanna do 3 or 4 items." And I'm going, "Okay, I mean, if you can make it work financially, it's harder to financially support 4 products than it is to support 1. But if you
yeah,
got the skill and you got the clarity of mind on how to execute, then go with your 4 products, but it is super okay to be a
just do
1 and
one.
starting point. We
Yeah.
out the gates."
You always hear about the hero product, just having like a hero product and maybe like a little freebie in there that supports the hero product to like
Yeah,
make it spicy, but
yeah,
yeah, one.
1000%.
Are there any products that you're tired of making as a manufacturer or anything, or you just like we getting the money, so it don't matter?
So I don't have any, I don't love any of these kids more or less than the others. Um, what do
Tired
I
of
we
lipsticks, like what is it?
No, we talk about edge gels.
Oh, okay.
We talk about edge gels in this environment. Like everyone is like super, super hype about edge gels in the hair care space.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, let's do your edge gel.
Go another one. I don't even be laying my edges,
Oh, that's
but
okay.
just
It's
a
it's looking
little,
smooth. It's looking
yeah,
smooth.
just a little water in my bandana, and that's it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But no, it is fine. And again, I'm a person that doesn't believe anything is oversaturated. If you've got a unique spin on it,
Mhm,
and you are speaking to a specific audience in a new and novel way, then there's absolutely space in the beauty space for you and
yeah.
your idea.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anywhere where you see people kind of splurging where they don't need to and they can cut costs in certain areas?
From the brand side,
Yeah.
um,
Like when they're launching, maybe they're spending too much money on like the packaging or I
no,
don't know.
the place that people really go hard that I don't think is that people feel like they've got to start with like this really amazing social media influencer campaign layered with PR, and it is not
Mm,
necessary,
mhm.
in my humble opinion. And the people that I've seen make a really good splash are people that, particularly in the very early days, your job is to just build up your first 100 customers that have purchased product that don't know you. And then you're using those 100 people to then validate that this product is delivering what this person said it was going to deliver.
Yeah.
And once you can build that as a cycle, I think the idea of bringing in like big influencer campaigns and, robust social media, like to me, that's phase 2 of a launch. It's not the place that you need to start because you spend a whole lot of money on something that people may not even care about.
Right.
Like
Right.
it is known that any brand that launches is gonna pivot at some point. And the pivot doesn't have to be like completely new product. It's just like, well, what am I communicating? Like you might say like, "Hey, I really think this is gonna be like the thing that clears your skin and gives you extra shine." And I'm the person that just goes, like, "This is the shiniest my skin has ever been," or, "This is the thing that, when I put it on, it smells so amazing," like, I get tons of compliments on.
Yeah.
So, the thing that you think is gonna be a benefit may be that, but there has to be a space where people then, after using it, take on a completely different perspective to say, "Well, this is actually what I really love most about your product." And if you
Mhm.
dumped a bunch of money and hired a bunch of people and put a bunch of creative together against one specific thing that you haven't even validated through buying customers is true, then you've not made a good use of your money. And so there's other
Yeah.
things that you could spend it on than
Yeah,
than
for
that.
sure.
So, robust big campaigns from a social media perspective, I don't believe is necessary in the
Yeah.
very, very starting point of launching a brand.
That makes sense, and you probably just saved somebody a whole bunch of money
Come
and
on,
headaches because, like,
come on.
influencers, sometimes they could be hard to work with and, just finding people who are gonna do the brand justice and
Mhm.
that could be a hard thing.
It is herding cat managing influence is like herding cats. And
Ah,
so, getting people to just do what you're gonna pay them to do
yeah.
is way harder and way more complex than it needs to be. And it's a part of the brand journey, don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
But it is not the
It's not the
place that you need
beginning.
to start.
Yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I was telling you, I'm, like, really obsessed with your Instagram because It's so informative. I'm not on TikTok like that, so I'm sure like you're probably sharing on TikTok too the same
Yeah,
things, but
I am.
like it's just like so informative and I love the content that you do about the retail space and
Hmm.
the shelves and those are things that I have found myself like looking at when I go to the stores is like where things are situated on the shelves and
Mm,
sometimes I can't find that. I'm like, let me look down because I don't be looking down and I'm
yeah.
short, so I don't really be looking like up either. So, but I've become intentional about like, oh, let me look up a little bit further. Or let me look
Sure.
down here too. But for most people that come to you, is retail the goal for them, or do they just want to sell, on like e-commerce
Yeah,
only?
in e-commerce. No, the retail, I mean, for 90% of the customers that come to us, they have a retail partner vision in mind.
Wow.
And so they're like, yes, I want to be sold in Sephora. Yes, I want to be on the Target shelf. Yes, this is the aspiration for the person and for the brand. The thing that I caution people is I spent 14 years in corporate America. And so I used to work in big companies. And so a large portion of that was Revlon, but I've worked in Black-owned companies. Luster Products was my first beauty brand. And so I've sold to probably every major retailer in the country,
Yeah.
as a matter of function, not as a flex. But
Mm-hmm.
and selling to these retailers, retailers are in the business of making money, and you are not going to crack the code or hack the process to ensure that you make money and your retailer doesn't make money. And so, because there's these structures that are in place from a retail perspective, but retailers make money not because of the sales of products. That's part of it, but they also make money because of the fees and the structure that is imposed upon the people that are on the shelf. Like that's part
Mm-hmm.
of their financial model. And so you don't escape it as a new brand. You don't escape it completely as a huge brand. But as a new brand, particularly, it is really, really expensive to be in a retail store. And so
Wow.
I caution people, can you go make $2 million selling directly to consumers first before you ever go into a retail store?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard thing to ask, I've learned over time, because if you said like, man, I really want to be in Target or I really want to be in whatever retailer, um, and then you get an opportunity and you're making $100,000 in sales or, $350,000 in sales, and then you get an opportunity to present to a retail buyer, people are like, I'm gonna go. And I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, okay. And so the moment that people get yeses is the moment that as a brand person, I get concerned
Mm-hmm.
because I know that the stakes are now going to get exponentially higher for this new vendor that is coming into this retail space. And the
Yeah.
moment your product is sitting on shelf, you are competing, if we're talking black hair care, you're competing against Cantu. You're competing against
Stay
Shea
moisture and all
Moisture. You're
those. Yeah.
competing now against My Organics. You're competing against brands that have been out there for 30 years. And you're competing against the people who just got there 6 months ago. And the retail partner does not care what products they sell. They are not in allegiance with anyone. They just
Yeah.
want to sell product. And so if
Mm-hmm.
yours is the product that is selling, then they're happy that you're there. If your product is not selling, then they're going to get you off the shelf and they're going to price you and charge you such that it has the potential to implode your business and send you
Wow.
into bankruptcy because
Ah.
it's the thing that there's so many fees and so many things that are happening, that if you don't enter it strategically and with a really clear financial plan, it crushes you. And let me
Yeah.
tell you this even more because now I'm on my soapbox. So,
I love it.
like the real talk is, and this is what I know to be the case, is 2020. We had the Great Social Awakening after George Floyd's murder. The world
Mm,
woke up for a little while and was like, we need to help these underserved Black and Brown entrepreneurs, and so we're going to give access to our shelf space as a response to this and an effort for equity. And so a bunch of brands got brought in 2021 that, they got their yeses in 2020. And then in 2021, like there was a wide assortment of new products that became available on shelf. And many of them were
yeah.
Black and Black woman owned brands. Like for the first time, Black women got access to retail shelves in ways that they have not ever in the history of retail.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is that at the close of 2024, those brands have not been able to perform at the same level that the other brands on the shelf have performed.
Wow.
And the reality is we are now seeing a constriction in the marketplace where the variety of brands is getting smaller and smaller. And I believe and I see that this is happening across the board. So this is not necessarily singling out any one particular retail partner. But if your brand is on shelf, no matter how much people like you and it's not moving at the level that it needs to move, you can't stay there. And so
Mm-hmm.
brands are now being put into some really horrible, challenging financial situations where like it is crushing business founders. We are watching this year on social media, Black women founders go on live Instagrams talking about they need $30,000 to stay in business. Like
Dang.
they're at risk of losing their businesses because sales are slow, things are challenging, but they've got this mounting heap of expenses. And in many instances, that's because of, retail distribution that, in my opinion, happened a little too early. And so, yes, it was a great
Saudi?
opportunity, but the
Yeah.
opportunity cost is so much higher than people estimate in the early days.
So are these like are they tied into some kind of contract where they can't pull out of it at a
Oh
certain if they're
yeah. I
doing
mean, when
bad?
you're on shelf. So like you're there for at least a year.
Wow. And like
So
how
if
like
you
hypothetically, like how much is this costing a month? Like
oh, thousands of dollars. Like it is, I mean, there's all sorts of fees. We could have a whole separate
that's
conversation
crazy.
about like how retailers make money. So it's everything from, when did you deliver product? You get a specific window and they say you got to deliver between the 10th and the 13th. If you deliver on the 9th or the 14th, guess what? That's a fine.
Ooh,
Um, Anytime you do promotions on shelf, we see a great sale. We're like, oh, my product is 20% off or $3 less. The retailer's not taking that hit. The
the
brand
brand.
owner is taking that hit. If a brand owner finds that your product is not selling, then they try to help you by saying, we're going to do some extra promotional things in order to help your product move because you're not moving at the level at your regular price that everybody else in that section is moving at. Well, guess what? If your product is already moving slowly and now we've discounted the product, which means you're making less money on the sales that you're selling into that product, but you still have to now actively promote on social media and every other marketing vehicle that you have, it gets really, really challenging really,
Oh
really
my
quickly.
gosh.
And the retail math is not designed to be in the small business person's
In your
favor
favor.
at the
Yeah.
onset. I mean, you can do it. So I don't want to discourage people from not having it, but I do believe it's best to make your first $1 to $2 million selling directly to consumers, and then when you do make the transition into going into retail, then it's about having the strategic business partners that you need, the banks and the lending institutions that can help you with capital and with the funds that you need to support your business. And this is the first time in the history of our experience as Black people in this country that we're having access at the level that we're having, and particularly amongst Black women, where we now have to operate at this advanced level. And it's not just about, well, they let me in the door and they put me on the shelf. It's now about how do I make the best business decision that is going to lead to the ultimate growth and success of the business. And there's not a lot of people who talk about that
Yeah.
because ultimately we get on the shelf. The people who come off the shelf and if their business survives and they, are selling directly to consumers or doing that thing, or they go out of business, but there's then a lot of shame around that
Yeah.
and a lot of, like, oh my God, I failed at this when the stakes were so high. And while, yes, you may view it as a failure, it really was never designed for you to succeed because the
Hmm.
odds were not just
It's
slightly
that.
stacked against you, they were massively stacked against you. And you gave a yes to this opportunity, not knowing that on the other side of that opportunity was a whole bunch of other things that you couldn't have been prepared for.
Man, oh man, I heard that retail was a beast, but I have never heard it explained in this way. And I'm the type of person, I'm gonna just go ahead and keep my Shopify. If I had a product, go ahead and keep my little Shopify shop and just run it up on that end because
Yeah.
you just take out the middleman. They could just come
Hey,
directly to you.
and you do that. And so, but you recognize that, even when you're selling Shopify direct to consumers, it's hard to grow there, but it's way more profitable and, the stakes are lower, but you recognize that you hit a certain ceiling where you're like, I can't reach any more people. I've done every ad I can do and I'm, stuck at this specific number. But I
Yeah.
believe there is a smart formula that allows you to then take the business that you've done direct to consumer, introduce yourself strategically to a retail partner and form a really good relationship and then start to
Hmm.
trickle that out over time so that you build up the kind of awareness that you need um,
Dang.
in order to have your long-term success inside of
It,
retail.
Is there such thing as like underrated retail, like a beauty supply store, for
Yeah.
instance?
Yeah, there is. Like, I mean, there's, again, when people come to me, they've got a vision for a really big box retailer that's a national brand every place. There is nothing wrong with independent beauty supply stores. There's nothing wrong with mom and pop retailers that are out there. I think it's a great training ground for doing business. If nothing else, like understanding the payment terms that come with selling to a retailer. When you sell on
Mm,
Shopify or some other retail platform, you sell a product one day, you get your money at full retail value the next day or within 3 days. And so you've constantly got this drip of money that's coming in. The
yeah,
moment you sell to a retailer, it's like you sell me the product today, I'm not going to pay you as a retailer for 30, 45, or 60 days
you
afterwards.
hating that.
And so now you have to figure out how can you still live and manage your business when you had to spend money to sell this product to a person, and it's going to be upwards of 60 days before you ever get a dollar of that back. And so that requires another level of business ownership and financial acumen to be able to manage the cycle of money that comes into your business, where it's not every day or, every 3 days, it's now every 60 days or every
Yeah.
45 days.
Shoot, I be dealing with that as a makeup artist. So you just reminded me I need to reach
Come
out to
on.
somebody for my coins. From a month ago, it was like a net 30. It's over 30 days. Okay. So you just reminded me I need to reach out. I meant to reach out today.
Yes. Yes.
Get my money. I be
Go
hating
with
that
it.
net 30, next
Yeah,
60.
that net'll get you.
I did it today. I need my money today. Shoot. Are you from Chicago?
I'm born and raised south side of Chicago.
Why is everybody from the south side of Chicago?
Because hey, we got it like that. We do have other sides of town, but I am admittedly a south sider of this great city.
Okay, so how did you get into the corporate beauty world? Is that something that you went to school for? How'd you land there?
No, I landed here by happenstance. I have a history degree. And so I tell everybody I'm a manufacturer right now with a history degree. I went to school and went to undergraduate. And upon graduating, I had a history degree. And I thought, well, maybe I'll go to law school. And then I did a couple of internships at law firms and was like, I don't really want to do this.
Yes.
And ironically, I had internships my entire time through school because I needed money to pay for living and for school. And my last internship turned out to be a marketing communications job for a technology company. And they offered me a full-time job when I graduated that was more money at the time than I ever expected to make. And I was like, I graduated from undergrad making like $5,000 or so less than my mother was making annually as a starting
Hmm.
salary fresh out of undergrad. And so for me at the time, I was like, my goodness, this is the way that I'm getting ready to go. Let me go get this money and get this thing together. And so that lasted for like a year or maybe 2 years. And then I was laid off in this technology company. And upon getting laid off and getting a crazy severance package for a 23 or 24-year-old young man at the time, I was then given a severance package. And I was like, well, I got to figure out what to do now. I happened to be in Chicago, which is where I'm born and raised. And I was like, I have a lot of hairstylist friends and creatives that are just friends of mine
Hmm.
and that I had been helping, particularly my hairstylist friends, do promotions and marketing stuff inside of their salon businesses. And so I thought, well, I'm not working right now. Maybe I should go like look for a job at a hair care company. And how cool would it be to work at a Black-owned hair care company, of which
Hmm.
there were 3 or 4 here in the city of Chicago at the time. And so I literally sent my resume out to all the companies that I could, and I ended up having interviews with two of that lot. And then I was hired to work as an associate brand manager at Luster Products
Nice.
as my first job in the beauty industry. And it was the best. I mean, it was like day one. I was like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
I love that. Didn't they used to make well, they probably still make the pink hair
Pink
something.
oil lotion. Come on.
Yes, I used to use that when
Yes.
I was younger.
There you go. So yeah, they are one of our iconic Black-owned hair care companies.
Hmm.
They're currently in their third generation, and they are 78 years in
Hmm.
the industry.
Nice, nice. So when did the opportunity come for you to open up the manufacturing company, you and your co-founder?
So I worked for 14 years inside of corporate America, and it was the best playground and training ground for me in terms of how to run a business, how to manage brands, and how to think about not just my position as a marketer, but my role as a brand person, which is
Mhm.
ultimately designed to be a steward of a brand inside of a big company. And so top line sales matter, but also bottom line profitability. And the business that happens in between there is a part of the responsibility of a brand manager in the places that I've been. So I'd worked for 14 years. I'd been working at a company here in Chicago, Namaste Laboratories. They're the people that make organic root stimulator or ORS at the
Oh.
time. And so I met a woman there who was the head of research and development, Erica Douglas, while I was working there. And I was managing international marketing for some of their brands. And Erica had recently left the company. We'd become friends over time. And so I was like literally just checking on my friend. It was like 3 weeks or so later
Uh-huh.
from her leaving the company. And I was like, let me check on her and see how she's doing. And so I said, let's go have, drinks, or let's go have dinner someplace. And we went and we met up and we had drinks. And she shared with me part of the reason that she left the company was to take this other job opportunity, but it was also to start working on this idea that she had. And the
Mhm.
idea was like, how can I support many of these small, well, not even small, these budding entrepreneurs who wanted to launch brands and wanted her to help, but she was unable to help. And
Mhm.
when Erica was providing referrals to them, to other manufacturers that she knew, those manufacturers, it's like, she's talking about 1,000 units. Like, we don't even turn on the lights for 1,000 units. And so
Mm.
that registered as a light bulb for her and then sent her down this path to then ideate the concept of MC Group. And so I
Yeah.
tell everyone, like, the idea of the company is not mine. It is so, so okay to join in on somebody else's vision. Because at the time, I just got excited for her and was like, well, maybe this, and maybe that, and maybe this, and maybe that. And then over the course of like a week or two, she then said to me, like, well, you've, thought a lot about this. And I was like, no, I haven't thought about it. I'm just giving you some ideas of things you should be thinking about.
Yeah.
She's like, well, what about you helping on some of this with the marketing piece specifically? And initially I was like, absolutely not. I love direct deposit way too much for that.
Okay. I know when
And
my
so
check coming.
let me tell you, it is great to be an employee when that's the life that you want and that's the ease and the comfort that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my initial response. And upon reflection, I was like, I'm just being scared. Like, that's a fear-based response. And I thought about it and I was like, I am not a person that shies away from opportunity. I've always had a mantra that I go where opportunity is. I don't wait for opportunity to come for me. Because
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes opportunities over there in this other space. I'm like,
Yeah.
but listen
And
here.
thank God you an extrovert.
And thank God I'm an extrovert. And so I was like, let me go on over here and see. And so after saying to myself, well, what's the worst that could happen? We start this business, it doesn't work. I can always go get another job someplace. Like,
Yeah.
I think I'm skilled enough that I can talk somebody into hiring me again.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank God I did that because that was, at this point, 10 plus years ago. And this has been the longest professional journey that I've had in my adult career as a founder of a company and an operator of a company that has now scaled to levels that are just amazing. And from a little bitty idea that we
Yeah.
had sitting up, or that she had, that I jumped in on
Mm-hmm.
10 or 11 years ago at this point.
Yeah. Shout out to Erica. We love
Shout
what
out,
you did. Have you
sister
always
scientist.
have you always been the face of the brand?
We
Like,
have. So
front facing?
we took a really interesting approach. So like in the trajectory of our manufacturing company, we do, like, if you Google and look up the social media for MC Group. It's trash. And so there's very little there. But we knew that as business owners, if we put our faces out there, that people would then come along. And so Erica maintains an active social media presence as Sister Scientist because she's a young Black woman that's a cosmetic chemist and does amazing things professionally. And so she had her social media presence. I've developed my social media presence over time.
Mhm.
And so when people find us as individuals, they then are able to transfer over to our business. And for me, this has been the best validator of who I am. I now, when I got real serious about making sure that I leaned into my social media presence and offering value in a public way, it has opened so many doors. Like, I don't have
Mhm.
to, generally speaking, validate who I am because people find me, or if they go look for me, then there's a ton of social proof and content about who
Yeah.
I am what my point of view is, what my expertise is, so that by the time we have an official business meeting, like that work has already been done. And so we're now moving to the next level of conversation, which is not
Mm-hmm.
like, well, who is this guy?
You're trying to
Can he
get
really do what he
familiar
say he
with
can
you.
do?
Hmm. I love that because I like when you said that about the social media. I'm like, what do you mean their social media? They have no, but I'm connecting you with the
Correct.
company. I
You
didn't even. I'm like, I was
correct.
looking at his personal social media. I wasn't looking at the company's social, but it was like one and the same to me because like
It is one and the
you're
same.
in the space and you're talking and everything like that.
Correct.
Yeah. One
Yeah.
thing that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so social media for me is really like my personal social media page is really me offering. So like my social media page is not designed for me to expose my life and talk about the personal things that are going on in my world. It
Yeah.
really is designed for me to offer thought leadership and opinions about things that are going on in the beauty and personal care space. And that
Mhm.
leads personally to my business, which then is the benefit
Yes.
that I get. And so when people oftentimes say like they don't want to go on social media because they don't want to be a Kardashian and talk about the things that are happening inside of their personal lives. I'm like, don't
You
do
don't have
it.
to.
But you
Yeah.
can certainly go in and talk about your business and talk about the
Mhm.
things that you know about in relation to your industry. And that establishes you as an individual that is thoughtful and has an opinion and a point of view.
Yeah, for sure. How have you and Erica how have you been able to leverage the relationships that you built in corporate America to support you when you initially started or, continue to support you now?
Oh, 1,000%. Like I to this day, I still leverage the fact that I spent 14 years working for big companies, and the network and the people that are associated with that are people that still work into the industry to this day. Like literally in July, we were at I don't know if you've ever been to Cosmoprof
I haven't,
in
no.
Las
But I know what you
Vegas.
mean, yeah.
It's the largest business to business trade show in the beauty industry.
Hmm.
If you're not somebody who's been, it happens annually in Las Vegas. I think there's like a newer show that happens in Miami. Um, but anyway, I went to the show and I connected with folks that I worked with like 15 years ago. And it was like, oh my God, Anthony, I haven't seen you in a while. What are you doing? And I say what I'm
Yeah.
doing. They're like, brother, I got a bunch of people that I need to introduce you to. And so I picked up like 3 customers because of the leverage of something that happened 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But because my intention has always been to be a person of integrity and of good character. And so that good character and that good seed sprouted 15 years later on a trade show floor because I saw
Hmm.
somebody that has a favorable opinion. And when they hear what I'm doing in today's environment, they're like, yes, I want to support you. And so for me, being having the opportunity to learn how to do business on
Yeah.
somebody else's dime inside of corporate America has been amazing and
Mhm.
incredible. Like I graduated from undergrad with a history degree. I am
Right.
not a trained manufacturer or marketer, but I learned how to do business inside of corporate America. And so for me, I am forever grateful that that has been my playground and my schoolhouse because it's given me practical, tactical strategies for how to navigate and grow in the space.
Absolutely. I be telling people I'm still eating off of relationships that I formed like 11 years ago. Just, because Friends of Beauty started off as networking events because as a makeup artist, all of the major opportunities I had gotten had literally come from me just being in a room. Like how you said, you don't wait for opportunity to come to you, you go
Yeah,
find it.
you're
So
right.
just being in certain environments, meeting people, being myself, and then things just start to happen. Like people recommend me for things. So I'm always curious to know how other people are leveraging their relationships and networking and, making things happen.
Yeah. And 1,000%. Again, like it's super clear that you're a great communicator and
Hmm.
you're somebody that asks thoughtful questions. And so you're a great communicator and and a great question asker, then like leverage that because it's
Yeah.
what you do already really well. And you don't have to do it with an expected end in mind, but if you're consistent in
Right.
doing what you do great, people take notice of that. And they're like,
Yeah.
I remember you. What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
And being able to then support you, everybody's looking for someone to support at any given moment. And particularly if they have a need themselves, then who better to do business with than somebody that you already know and have
Yeah.
familiarity with? And so, like, yes, like it is so important
Yeah.
that I think, establish ourselves as just good, dependable people and people of good character, because that opens up doors, not immediately but
Yeah.
over time, like there's incremental payoff that comes along with
Yeah.
that.
It's a long game, y'all.
It's a
It's a
long
long game.
game. And I tell I am not the smartest bee in the tribe, may not be the most hardworking, but I am consistent. And my work ethic is there. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do something. And, there's not a ton of people that got crazy stuff. There's probably a few
Yeah.
on the streets that got some sideways stuff. But one of the things they won't be saying is that he was somebody that shysted me or stole from me or done some other things. Like
Right.
it is, I think, super, super important that we maintain the brand of who we are, and we get to establish what that brand is and how we interact with people.
Yes, absolutely. Now, does MC Group only do products, or do you all do tools too? Can you
No,
do
we
tools?
just do products. So
Okay,
right now, MC Group, we formulate and manufacture anything that's generally liquid or cream
gotcha.
in terms of format. We can do some scrubs and some things of that nature in those formats, but no tools at this time. If people want tools, then we send them to other places. If they want other types of products, for instance, I don't make color cosmetics either. So if you're looking for foundations or tinted products, then I send them to
Yeah,
other places. But if you're
gotcha.
looking for something in the hair care, skin care, personal care product, that's liquid or cream, then I'm like, let's have at it. And if I don't do it and you're my customer, then I'm guaranteed to give you a referral to some place that does what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Because if it's all a part of your ultimate collection, then I'm happy to support in any way possible. And if I know the people and the resources, then here it is, and you go do the work now.
Yeah, for sure. Before I let you go, I had to ask you about just brand acquisition. As
Yeah.
African American people, what do we need to know? What is the confusion about? Because like when Mael sold, when Honey
Mhm.
Pot sold, any black brand that ends up selling their company, it's almost everybody's like, oh, they're selling out or they're doing this, but like, is that not the goal to like get so big that you can sell it? Like, what do we need to know as black people to ease our minds when we see our faves getting acquired?
So here's what we need to know. We need to know as a community, and I'm super passionate and sensitive to the topic. We need to know that when you're operating at scale and 100 million, $250 million, $500 million in scale, you are not doing that as a solo entrepreneur. You're
Mm-hmm.
just not. Like that doesn't exist even for other people in this country. Nine-figure brands are a collection of people who are bringing together resources to help and support that brand entity to generate a return for them and for the people that are associated with it. That is a fact. Now, you might give me one or two examples that don't meet that criteria, but
Yeah.
the overwhelming majority is a collection of people. As a business owner, the thing that we quickly find out is that it's hard for us to raise money. Like as Black people, if you want $100,000 right now,
Yeah.
which is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but if you need $100,000 right now, I might as well go tell you to go build a castle made of sand
Hmm.
by next week. Like it almost feels impossible. And so imagine what happens when you are the founder of a brand that is doing 7 million, 10 million, $20 million, and you need money to do all of the things that we talked about earlier in terms of supporting retail partners,
Yeah.
expanding distribution, not just in the US, but going over to Europe, going into Africa, going into the Middle East. Like all of that takes money and resource and expertise. All of that costs money. And so if you're in the business and you need $50 million, where are you going to find $50 million or
Wow.
$30 million? Who do you go to when your brand needs $30 million?
Wow. Yeah.
And so because those options are limited, we then as responsible business owners then say we're going to the market and we are looking for strategic partners that are aligned with our vision. And yes, we recognize that in doing so, that there is the potential that those people are not going to look like you and I. But
Hmm.
who are we as a community to tell someone what they should do under any circumstance? And
Absolutely.
I get particularly sensitive because we're telling Black women, you shouldn't do this. And so how dare you go and sell your brand or partner with someone, because this really is a partnership. Because
Yeah.
in each of the examples that you listed, these are not people who sold their brand and then walked away from it. They
They're
have
still a part of it.
still a part of this. They are still active members of that community. They still have equity in the company, maybe not majority equity, but they still have equity in the company. They still have a voice at the table in terms of what happens. And they are still aware that we as a community have a valid concern that when partnerships happen, we don't want the quality of our products to change to save a
Mm-hmm.
dollar. So they're not unaware of this.
Right.
And so they're doing what they should do responsibly to make sure that the brands are still delivering what our consumer and their consumer base expects. But it is a travesty that we put ourselves and people that look like us in a box and
That
then say, like,
yeah.
we should be doing it within the community. When again, I need $50 million to scale my brand to the next level.
That's
Where
what
am
they
I
should
getting
start
$50
doing.
million
You go
from?
are you gonna give me 50 million?
If
Okay
you got
then.
50 million, then we can have a whole conversation and keep it all the way black at that point.
Yes.
But if not, like we then need, and not even just the 50 million, but then the access and the resources that it takes to accomplish the next thing.
The
Because
next
in many
level.
instances, it's like, how do we go international in a big way? How do we do these other new product innovations and, really upskill ourselves? And so the perspective that I have is very much rooted in number one, that I worked inside of large multinational companies that were not Black owned. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I've worked for Black owned hair care companies, but I also spent 7, 8 years inside of Revlon, which is not a Black owned company. But the divisions that I worked for, the people that I reported to were Black people, and we were in service to the Black consumer. And so I understand where that dynamic comes from, and we're still doing, and the people that work in these environments are still doing good work. Um, and still providing quality products that sit inside most of our households at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so with that, like I believe that it's super fine for people to have preferences. I'm not telling anyone like don't prefer to support Black owned businesses. If that's your preference, then lean all the way into it.
Mm-hmm.
But please don't tell another Black woman or Black person what they should and shouldn't do with their business.
With their business they built.
Because now it just says, like, well, let me just come in and tell you what to do with your uterus. And let me tell
Right.
you what to do with other parts of your life,
And
sir.
that's how it
And let me tell
starts.
you how you should do with your kids. And so like this shoulding is the thing that just really like grates against my skin
Yes.
when, Black women, particularly in this instance, are making decisions for their business. And even should they decide to exit those companies, the whole goal is none of us is working a job right now to work it until the day we die.
Right now, I feel like I just had this random thought, like, dad, maybe
Yeah.
I should put like a panel together with like Beatrice, Monique. I think Minted got
Mhm.
acquired too. Maybe just put like a panel together so they could just talk it out
Yeah.
because I just think it's like a lack of information or just a
Correct.
lack of knowledge that we don't know as consumers when we see our faves because I guess in the consumer's mind it's like they sold out. Like how you gonna give
Correct.
it to so I think it just needs to be some education behind like what it really means for the brand or for the greater good when these things
Hmm.
happen. And maybe
Yeah.
it's just like inspiration for like the next generation of brand owners to get to a point where they can acquire another black owned business, and be able
Correct.
to be that person that they go to, get
Correct. And
acquired.
again, we've seen it happen. Rich Lou Dennis is the founder of Shea Moisture.
Hmm.
His company was acquired by Unilever. He took the proceeds of that and then launched an entire media career. And so he's now the owner and went and bought Essence magazine, which had previously been Black owned, but was sitting inside of Time Inc. And he reacquired it and made it a Black owned brand again. And has since gone on to do a ton of other things and then invested hundreds of millions of dollars into small Black women owned businesses. But that could only happen because he got the bag that he got out of his Unilever transition and
Yeah.
partnership.
Yeah.
And so we can't just assume that we're taking this and people are taking this and it's just going off into the sunset with them and their kids, which is fine if they do. But in many instances, we recognize as Black founders that we do have a responsibility to the communities upon which we served, but we should have every right to change the landscape upon which we serve. And if
Hmm.
me selling this brand to another entity allows me access to then go do something else where I can be of service, it's a travesty then when people then come back and tell me what I shouldn't do.
Right. On that note, look, what are you working on your legacy to be with the work that you're doing?
So my ultimate legacy is really to be a resource and a gate opener to people and to make sure that I've been put into some pretty fortunate spaces And I want my legacy to be that I open doors for other people, and particularly for Black women, because I believe that over the course of the next generation of 20 years or so, that Black women are going to lead and champion the advancement of the Black community. And that's
Hmm.
decidedly different than it's been in times past, where men have traditionally, Black men have traditionally led that. And I believe that in this new current era, Black women are going to be a part of that and leading that. And I want to be at the front line of providing access in this CPG beauty space that I have expertise in. And so I've committed myself to making sure that those doors get open and that the resources get let in. And I recognize that in doing so, they will advance, they being Black women, I will
Hmm.
advance, and that the collective of us will move forward. And so
Yeah.
that's what I hope my legacy to be overall.
Absolutely, I love it. Is there anything that's coming up next that you can share for yourself or for MC group that we should be on the lookout for? Or the new
We
year?
are just out here trying our best. Again, I am still a small business in many
Hmm.
instances. So I do the same grind of raising money, trying to scale businesses, manage people, do all of the things and support the customers that we have. And so 2025, as I've been thinking about what is my kind of theme and intention for 2025, expansion is the word that has been coming to the forefront for me. And so I believe that even in the middle of what perhaps might be a tough time inside of our economy for the next year or so or next few years, that there's still opportunity for expansion, and I want to
Yeah,
be a part of that.
yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh my God, I told you before we started, I would keep talking. I swear it's just one last thing before I ask
Yeah,
you the
go with
rapid
it.
fire questions because it was something that you said earlier in the icebreakers, and I was like, I gotta remember to ask him this. And it just came back to me. I forgot what you said, but you said something about maybe the personal things that you do or personal goals. And I kind of wanted to know about how you go about well, I'll say it like this. I feel like I just told someone the other day, I feel like I don't do enough with setting personal goals. I feel like my business goals kind of bleed into my personal goals, and I don't take enough time to just do things that I want to do, that I'm passionate about, even though I'm passionate about my business. Like, how do you go about like balancing business life and then making sure you're still pouring into yourself personally, where you're doing those things that's outside of business and
Yeah.
making goals for yourself that aren't like business like related.
Yeah. No, I do everything from like I set an intention this year for 2024. I set the intention that I wanted to see more movies at the movie theater. So I wanted to
Hmm.
see 6 movies at the movie theater. Now that might sound like trite to some people, but I'm a person who won't take time to go to the movies.
Yeah.
And then I don't like if you want to overwhelm me, like give me a remote control and tell me to pick a movie on Netflix. It just like stresses me out. And so that's my own quirk and ism. But I like the experience of going to the movie theater. And so, it is a deliberate intention to say, like, if I'm my best self as a whole person, then I'm an even better business person
Hmm.
because I can truly focus on my business. And I've had periods of life, years, as a matter of fact, where I was so business focused that as a human being, I was off kilter.
Hmm.
And other business owners that are successful, that have thrived over time, as I've been in association with them, it is very clear that they maintain a high priority for themselves as individuals and a high priority for themselves as business owners. And in the absence of either, life is not right. And so
Gotcha.
I make it an intention every single year. And this is the season where I am in reflection as we are in the new year and moving into this new to be like intentional about what is it that I want for Anthony Standifer. And there's everything from like business goals to physical goals to, fun activities to like
Hmm.
maybe I want to start a new project. And so like these are things that for me, I just sit down and meditate on for a period of time. I'm a big writer, and so I write down my notes because I'm going to forget everything.
Yep.
And so I make these lists and then I prioritize those lists and go like, okay, like these 6 things, what's really important on this list? And so let me choose 2 and then make those 2 time sensitive goals for myself.
Yeah.
And so, and I want to be a person that removes the barriers because I can always say, but I'm just too busy. There's just
Hmm.
not enough time. I'm already overwhelmed with this other stuff. When am I ever going to have time to do that thing. And that thing
Right.
is usually going to be the thing that is designed specifically for me. And the other piece of this, and particularly amongst women that I see and mothers, is that they will prioritize business and then the kids slash spouse, and then they're on the absolute last part of the list.
Right.
And man, I think it's just such a disservice because as mothers, the thing that I have thrived under it has been that I saw a working mother, but I also saw a working mother who took care of herself. It was never unclear to me that my mother was my mother, and that I was a big priority, but I saw her take vacations. I saw without me. I saw her take trips. Now, I might have been mad as a kid, like, why can't I go?
Right.
But as a grown man now, I can appreciate a woman who, at some levels, prioritized herself in the midst of all the other things that were happening in life. And so be intentional is the only thing. I'm being intentional
Yeah.
about prioritizing myself and recognizing that I can't have a year-long plan and there's 15 things on there and there's one thing that's specific in person. That is not a balanced list. So, but
Yes.
I am in control of that. And so if I give it over to somebody else, then it'll be somebody else's. But if I'm like, there's 15 things, I need five
Yes.
on this list. And they can be something as simple as like just go to the movies every other month and
Hmm.
see a movie, then
Yeah.
that makes me feel good. And that's where I'm choosing to lean.
Yes, yes, I love it. Okay, Anthony. Well, before I let you go completely, because I
Mhm.
like you. I was like, I like him. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
let you
come on.
go.
Thank you. This has been awesome. I've enjoyed this. I knew I was going to enjoy this conversation because I've been following you out here on these
Oh
streets as
my God.
well.
I want to come to work with you one day. I'm
Cool.
coming.
Come on.
Come to
We get your
Chicago.
hairnet. We'll get you out here on the production lines and
Yes.
tapping some bottles and filling some things up.
I would love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I have to ask you the Friends of Beauty rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So whatever comes to your mind, you can spit it out, or if you need to elaborate, that's totally fine. So the first one is, what are the top three keys to your success so far?
Consistency, flexibility, and being inquisitive. Like I'm a
Mm,
curious person, and so like I get all kinds of thoughts and thinkings, and I'm like, well, let's just see. And so
mm,
yeah, those three, and the first two we've talked about already because this is what I've seen the other successful people in my life do, and the people that have really thrived and sailed. They're
mhm.
consistent and they're flexible. So I'm aspiring to be that even when it's tough for me to do.
Yep, yep. How do you measure your success?
Ooh, that's a good one. I just want to make progress. Like I have some big, audacious, hairy goals. And like I set them and I am trying to be consistent about raising the bar even above and beyond where I am because I think I'm my own limiting factor about what's possible in life.
Mhm.
Um, but I just want to make progress. Even if I don't get to the goal that I set, if I get further than where I started, then I feel good about that in life in general. Like I never would have designed my life at the beginning to be where I am today, and that is so great because I would have put myself in a different box than this amazing space that I occupy today.
Yeah.
So I just want to be making progress on a regular basis.
All righty. What's the best advice you've ever received, or a piece of advice that's always stuck with you?
My mother, first thing that came to mind, my mother told me as a young boy for my entire life, and even says it to me this day, well, Anthony, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And I believed that lady as a kid,
Mhm.
as impossible as that statement could be perceived, that like literally I could do anything that I set my mind to. And doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, but like it is something that I like continue to remind myself. And she occasionally reminds me again,
Yeah.
even today, like you can do anything. Just set your mind to it. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
let's go.
Yeah, you got your mama's support. Shoot, that's all
Yeah.
you need. My mom said I could do
Mama,
it.
did you say that lady right there? Yes.
Shoot, okay. What
Yeah.
advice would you give to a beauty brand owner right now who is just not seeing the success they want with their brand and they're just like, maybe I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. I'm ready to
Find
give it
your
up.
tribe. Find your tribe of other entrepreneurs, whether they're in the beauty space or not, but that are in a similar industry as you, because
Hmm.
it's inside of your tribe of other business owners, like operators, people that are rolling up their sleeves, that I believe you find community and you find a path and a light forward for how to get out of the mess that you're currently in. I
Yes.
have associated with a couple of business groups and one in particular entrepreneur organization that has been game changing because it's given me a community of entrepreneurs that are navigating life in some pretty amazing ways. And that has given me a clear, visible, living example of what I could choose to do in managing my own situations. Find your
Yeah.
tribe.
Found your tribe. Absolutely. What's a resource that helps you in your business that you could share with the Friends in Beauty community? I guess entrepreneur.
Yeah, so
What would you say?
entrepreneur organization. It's EO, entrepreneur organization. But there's others. The Small Business Association has some amazing resources as well. Goldman Sachs has some
Mm-hmm.
incredible resources, particularly if you're a Black woman.
Yes.
Goldman Sachs is doing some incredible work to empower Black women entrepreneurs in the market space, and it's tactical transactional information. But in the middle of getting that, you also get the benefit of community.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizing that sometimes community doesn't always look like you. And so I've gone into some rooms where I was like, there is not a Black soul to be found in
Yep.
this room. And it's the exact room that I needed to be in because there was such valuable information there that I've been able to glean and take and then say, okay, great, I've been able to apply it and I can share it with other people at this point. And so for me, it's been this really interesting journey about like going and being intentional about looking for what I need in order to succeed. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the last one is just a statement that I want you
mhm,
to repeat and just say, my name is
mhm.
blank, and the key to longevity and success is blank, whatever you think it is.
My name is Anthony Standifer, and the key to longevity and success is being rooted in what is the guiding purpose and the intention.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when life goes crazy astray, if I can go back to what my purpose and intention is, I'm usually okay.
Yes, I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, before you go, please share social media information, website, however you want people to continue to connect with you, follow the journey, get the product made, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, so if you want to follow me on social media, I am the Anthony Standifer on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can also find me on LinkedIn as Anthony Standifer. On my website for my manufacturing company is mcgroup.com. And so reach out, ask questions. I love a good DM. I love a good public question. Just don't be the person that suffers in silence. Ask for help and ask a question. And I'm happy to be a resource where I can.
Yay. Thank you so much, Anthony, for sharing with us. I learned so much today, and I'm like so appreciative. I'm about to go stalk your page some more and learn some more things. But thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you. I appreciate the time with you today. This has been awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with another friend in beauty. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review so that other friends in beauty can find the show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, hashtag Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.